Commit thy way unto the Lord, and trust also in him. Watch this. And he shall bring it to pass. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. I'm going to begin reading in verse number 5 again. It says, commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. I want you to do me a favor. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, it is on. They act like they wouldn't listen to you. Why don't you do me a favor and look at your other neighbor and say, neighbor, I don't know who's been tripping on you. I don't even know what they said or did. But hear me well. It is on. Today marks a very, very strategic point in the life of this church. Also in the life of your new pastor. And people of God, it's important that each of us are keenly aware that this man of God was destined to be at Icy Sink in this season of your life. And every now and then we all must be reminded that God is in control of everything that you're dealing with. In other words, the Lord has power over everything that's going on around you. Here it is right here. God is what's known as omnipresent. That means he's everywhere at all times, which means there's no problem too big or too small that God cannot see. And that's good news for somebody right through here, because some of you have found yourself stuck in situations that other people have downplayed. They told you to just get over it, and you know just as well as I do that some things are not that easy to get over. It's not easy to get over all those years of hurt. It's not that easy getting over losing a pastor after 15 years. It's not easy going through that sickness when you don't know how it's gonna turn out. And God told me to tell you that he's seen you in your situation, and you need to know that he's already working it out. So what am I trying to tell you is that no matter what situation that you are in, God has a way of dealing with your dilemma, ultimately to get you to a point in your life that gets you to know that nothing escapes his divine radar. I know some of you are wondering why you had to go through certain things in your life that you didn't ask for, but not only that, I need you to see David. Even David in our text today is pondering the fact of when you look at what is going around you, it seems like those who are farthest from God are getting their way out, but you who have been faithful to God is barely making ends meet. And so God gave me this word today to make sure that each of you know that now is not the time for you to get caught up in what everyone else is doing. Icy Sink. But God says in this season, as long as you will put your trust in him, nothing will be able to stop what God is about to do in your life. In other words, it will be on for you. Why don't you go ahead and look at your neighbor and say, it's on. So when David writes this psalm, watch this, he's no longer a young man. He's now old. He's seen people come in his life, and he's seen people go. David has seen people show up to help him, Brandon, and he also seen people show up to hinder him. Let me park right there. Because see, you need to know that there are two people that you're going to run across in your life. Those who will be there to help you, and those who will be there to hurt and hinder you. Y'all not going to talk to me. And the problem is, the reason why so many people in the body of Christ are in so much trouble and missing out on the good things that life has to offer you, it's simply because you are surrounding yourself around people who are hindering you instead of people who is helping you get to where God has called you to be. And here's what God said. God said, it's time to start hanging with folk that are pulling you down in their midst. That's for two people. That's how I got it. Let me see this. God says, it's time for you to stop messing with folk that are bringing you down to the level. I don't see we're going to catch that right there. Because there comes a point in your life that you got to decide that I'm no longer going to focus my attention on people and things that are bringing me down. But I'm going to make a decision to surround myself around people that are going to push me to be all that God has called me to be. And here's what God says. God says that the only way you're going to get where you need to be in Him is if you start looking in a different direction. Because many of you have spent too much time looking down on yourself, looking down on your sickness, looking down on other church members, looking down on how life is turning out for you. And God says it's time for you to stop looking down and start looking up. So, do I have a witness up in this place? People of God, there comes a point in your life that you got to start looking to the hills from whence cometh your help. And I wish I had a witness in here that know all of your help comes from the Lord. And I'm here to let you know, is if anything you need to know that God is able. Do you need healing? God is able. Do you need to get your life back in order? God is able. Do your children need to be turned back around? I'm here to tell you that God is. I want to ask you, do you want to know why I know this so well? Because God had turned me around. And if He ever can turn me around, He's able. Look at your neighbor, high five your neighbor, and say it's all. So, come back to me, y'all know I'm Baptist, but here it is. When David writes this song to instruct us how to handle life when the going gets tough. David literally tells us that what we should never do before he lets us know what we all should do. So the first thing that we learn from David is this. Never let your haters get the best of you. It's in the book. It's in the book. Look at verse number 1. Fret not thyself because of evildoers. Now listen here. Because when I talk about haters today, I'm not talking about people who are mad at you because you got more than what they got. In this sermon, I'm talking about people who are just flat out hateful, disrespectful. Every time you see them, rest assured they're up to no good. I'm talking about people who, when you try to give them good godly wisdom, you almost get cussed out. Look at somebody say, he's talking about somebody I know. You know who these people are. We know who these people are. They much rather hear a pretty line than the ugly truth. Y'all not going to talk to me up in here today. So here we are. I'm talking about evil doers. Yeah. And nowadays, we even, not only do adults trip, but now we even got teenagers disrespecting grown people with their smart mouth. Y'all not going to talk to me. mean nothing. But one evening, my mama called me in the kitchen. I'll never forget it. And she said, son, you think you bad, don't you? You out here getting into fights. You're out here packing guns like you Clint Eastwood. But she said, hon, let me tell you something. All the bad people are either in the graveyard or in prison. She said, you ain't bad. You just smell bad. How will you get on your way home? And she turned me over to the Lord. What am I trying to tell you? David said, fret not thyself because of evildoers. In other words, don't get too worked up when people do you wrong. Don't you let it bother you when folk are mean and act evil to you. Don't you start losing sleep because people are tripping on you. Don't you let people run your blood pressure up and get your sugar out of whack, wondering why they're doing you like this. Because you must understand, at the end of the day, God has the last word. And it's God who will fight your battles. And that's why the next time folks start tripping on you and being mean to you, just tell them you're not bad. You just smell. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. But you got to learn. You got to learn how to handle your haters. But wait a minute. Because David shares with us another thing we should never do. Come on. Never compare yourself to people who are living outside of the will of God. It's in the book. Neither be envious against the workers of iniquity. Here's what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to start comparing yourself with other people who don't even know God are doing it. He wants for you to develop the concept in your mind that doing wrong will get you the finer things in life. I'm trying to talk to the players right now. David said, don't be envious. Can I get you to give you a description of envy? Come on. Envy shoots at others and wounds itself. Remember this, you can never be who God called you to be if you are spending your time adding and subtracting what others have and you don't. Let me say that one more time. You can never be who God called you to be if you are spending all of your time adding and subtracting what others have and you don't. I will get that tomorrow either. But you know what? I'll tell y'all something. I know it's rough. I'm going to tell you, I know it's rough. I've seen it for myself. When you pull up at the stoplight in your little hoopty and somebody that don't even know God pulls up beside you rolling on Doug 4s, that's 24s. I know what it's like. And you might have 20s if you're lucky. I know it's hard when you're doing all you can do to pay for that apartment. You're having to sit on furniture that's been handed down from 3 generations. But here you got somebody in the next complex, little Squeaky and Monica, in an apartment in the next complex, not even trying to work legally. And not only that, but they got a nice apartment, got plasma screens, and all they're paying is $16.50 a month. I'm trying to help somebody up there. Look here, they got their babies wearing Jordans. Look at here, the baby 3 years old, and all they know is Trey Songz songs. Talking about the neighbors. Now, how do you know the neighbor know your name? So you know what? That's why so many of you have found yourself questioning God, asking him, why is it that I've done all I can do for you? I pay my tithes, I go to church on Sundays, on Wednesday night, but people who don't even know you won't even give you glory. They're blessed. But here's what I come to tell you. Don't you let the devil make you think that what they have right now It's because what they have is temporary, but what you have is eternal. Because that's why, look here, that's why David said, for they shall soon be. Somebody say soon be. Cut down like the grass. I'm almost done. Cut and wither as a green herb. What am I trying to tell you? Don't you let people that don't mean you any good cause you to lose the joy that God has placed in your life. As a matter of fact, the next time somebody puts you down to hurt your feelings, just look at them with a smile on your face and say, soon be. The next time somebody tells you that you'll never amount to nothing, just look at them and say, soon be. The next time